Today, we're diving into a sensitive yet intriguing topic. We'll explore 10 signs that might indicate a woman has not been sexually active. Number 1. Nervousness about sex. This anxiety often stems from a lack of experience, leading to uncertainty and apprehension when confronted with sexual situations. It's common for her to feel overwhelmed by the myriad emotions and physical sensations associated with intimacy. The prospect of emotional and physical vulnerability can exacerbate this nervousness, making the idea of sexual engagement a daunting experience. Societal pressures and expectations surrounding sex often compound this anxiety. The inundation of information, myths, and narratives about sexuality can create confusion for someone who hasn't yet navigated these waters. Questions about performance, desirability, and consent can intensify anxiety, leading to avoidance behaviors where the individual steers clear of sexual encounters altogether. Moreover, nervousness can manifest in physical symptoms, such as increased heart rate, trembling, or even feelings of nausea when the topic of sex arises. Conversations about sex might be avoided, and situations that could lead to sexual encounters might be eschewed. This avoidance is not necessarily rooted in a lack of desire or interest, but instead in the fear of the unknown and the unease that comes with stepping into uncharted territories of one's sexuality. Number 2. Avoidance of sexual encounters. This behavior is often multifaceted and can be attributed to various underlying causes. For some, it may be a conscious choice rooted in personal, cultural, or religious beliefs. These women may abstain from sexual activity due to the values and principles they uphold, leading to a deliberate avoidance of situations that could lead to sexual encounters. In other instances, health concerns can be a significant factor. Women dealing with specific health issues, whether physical or mental, might find the prospect of sexual engagement daunting or uncomfortable. The physical vulnerabilities and the emotional exposure associated with sexual encounters can sometimes be overwhelming, leading to a natural inclination to avoid such situations. Furthermore, avoidance can also be linked to past experiences. Women with negative or traumatic experiences may associate sexual encounters with those memories, leading to a natural aversion. The psychological impact of such experiences can manifest as anxiety, fear, or even repulsion, driving the individual to steer clear of potential sexual engagements. Number 3. Indifference to sex. This indifference isn't necessarily a staunch aversion, but rather a lack of enthusiasm or interest in sexual engagements. It can stem from a low libido, resulting from many factors, including hormonal imbalances, mental health issues, or certain medications. Women experiencing this often don't feel a strong drive or inclination towards seeking sexual encounters, and conversations or opportunities related to sex might be met with apathy. Social and cultural conditioning can also play a significant role in shaping this indifference. Women raised in environments where sex is not openly discussed or is considered taboo might not have had the opportunity to explore and understand their sexual desires and interests. This lack of exploration and understanding can translate into a general disinterest or indifference towards sexual experiences. Moreover, underlying health issues can sometimes be at the root of this indifference. Medical conditions, mental health challenges, and certain medications can impact sexual desire, leading to a noticeable lack of interest in sexual activity. It's a nuanced experience often interwoven with the individual's well-being and health. Number 4. Seeking validation online. In an era where digital interactions are as significant as real-life engagements, seeking validation online has become an expected behavior, especially among individuals who may not be sexually active. For some women, the digital space becomes a sanctuary where they seek affirmation and validation, often as a substitute for physical intimacy. Instant gratification from likes, comments, and positive feedback on social media platforms can sometimes fill the void created by a lack of sexual activity. The behavior is often characterized by posting suggestive or highly curated images online, engaging in flirtatious digital interactions, or even seeking out virtual relationships. These actions are not driven by vanity but are often a cry for affirmation, a way to feel desired and appreciated without physical or sexual relationships. The virtual world offers a semblance of anonymity and distance, allowing these women to explore and express their sexuality without the vulnerabilities associated with physical intimacy. However, this online validation, while momentarily gratifying, is often temporary. The transient nature of digital interactions can sometimes exacerbate feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. It becomes a cycle where the instant but short-lived validation leads to a constant need for more, driving the individual more profoundly into the virtual world. Number 5. Emotional clinginess. An intense need for emotional closeness, validation, and reassurance from others often characterizes this behavior. Without the physical and emotional intimacy that comes with sexual relationships, some women may seek to fulfill these needs through heightened emotional connections. This can manifest as an over-reliance on friends, family, or romantic interests for emotional support, affirmation, and validation. The underlying causes of emotional clinginess can be complex and multifaceted. For some, it may stem from underlying insecurities or low self-esteem, where the individual seeks constant reassurance to alleviate self-doubt and inadequacy. In others, it may be a response to loneliness or isolation, where the emotional connection compensates for the lack of physical intimacy. Emotional clinginess can also be a reaction to past traumas or negative experiences. Women who have experienced rejection, abandonment, or emotional neglect may develop clingy behaviors as a defense mechanism to avoid reliving those painful experiences. The intense need for emotional closeness and reassurance is a buffer against the perceived threat of rejection or abandonment. Number 6. Low self-confidence. This diminished self-assurance often manifests in various aspects of life but is particularly pronounced in intimacy and relationships. A woman with low self-confidence may grapple with body image issues, feeling self-conscious or insecure about her physical appearance. These insecurities can create a mental barrier to sexual activity, where the fear of judgment or rejection overshadows the natural desire for intimacy. The roots of low self-confidence can often be traced back to societal standards and expectations. The pervasive images of ideal beauty and femininity can exert immense pressure on women, leading to internalized feelings of inadequacy for those who feel they don't measure up. In the context of sexual activity, these insecurities can be magnified, with the vulnerability of intimate encounters exacerbating feelings of self-doubt. Furthermore, low self-confidence can also stem from a lack of sexual education or exposure. Women who are not well informed or experienced may feel ill-equipped to navigate the complexities of sexual relationships, leading to avoidance behaviors. The fear of the unknown and insecurities about their abilities to be desirable or satisfying partners can lead to a self-imposed withdrawal from sexual activity. Number 7. People-pleasing tendencies. This behavior is characterized by an overwhelming need to cater to the desires and expectations of others, often at the expense of one's own needs and desires. In sexual inactivity, people-pleasing can be a coping mechanism to seek validation and acceptance without venturing into physical intimacy. The underlying motivations for people-pleasing are often rooted in self-esteem and self-worth issues. For women who are not sexually active, the absence of physical intimacy can sometimes lead to feelings of inadequacy or unattractiveness. People-pleasing becomes a way to compensate and earn affection, approval, and validation through behaviors deemed acceptable and appreciated by others. In relationships, this can manifest as an excessive willingness to accommodate the partner's needs, desires, and whims. The woman might constantly seek to make herself indispensable through acts of kindness, support, and accommodation, hoping this emotional labor will cement her place in the relationship. The fear of rejection or abandonment can exacerbate these tendencies, driving the individual to go to great lengths to avoid conflict or displeasure. Number 8. Fear of loss. This fear is often characterized by an intense anxiety about losing relationships, particularly those that provide emotional support and companionship. Without sexual intimacy, emotional connections can take on heightened significance, becoming a primary source of validation, affection, and self-worth. As such, losing these connections can evoke intense anxiety and fear. As discussed earlier, this fear of loss can manifest in various behaviors, such as clinginess, anxiety, and an over-eagerness to please. It can also lead to a pattern of rushed emotional intimacy, where connections are accelerated to create a sense of security and permanence. For women who are not sexually active, these emotional bonds can sometimes substitute for physical intimacy, and the fear of losing them can be as daunting as the fear of abandonment in a sexual relationship. The underlying causes of this fear can be complex and multifaceted. Past experiences of rejection, abandonment, or betrayal can instill a deep-seated anxiety about the impermanence of relationships. A lack of self-esteem can also exacerbate this fear, leading to a dependency on external relationships for validation and self-worth. Number 9. Hypersensitivity. This heightened sensitivity is often characterized by an acute awareness of others' emotions, behaviors, and reactions. Every word, gesture, or expression is meticulously analyzed and, sometimes, overinterpreted. In relationships, this hypersensitivity can manifest as an intense responsiveness to a partner's moods, needs, and expectations. The roots of hypersensitivity can often be traced back to deep-seated anxiety or insecurity. Without sexual intimacy, emotional interactions can become the primary source of validation and self-worth. As such, these interactions are imbued with heightened significance, leading to an intensified sensitivity to every nuance. Every compliment is cherished, and every criticism is deeply internalized, leading to an emotional roller coaster oscillating between the highs of approval and the lows of rejection. In practical terms, hypersensitivity can lead to a pattern of reactive behaviors. The woman might find herself constantly adapting and adjusting to meet the perceived expectations of others, leading to a loss of self-identity and autonomy. The fear of disapproval or rejection amplifies this sensitivity, driving a constant need for reassurance and affirmation. Number 10. Avoidance of physical touch. It's not merely about shying away from sexual encounters but extends to a general hesitance or discomfort towards any form of physical closeness. This behavior can manifest in various settings, from social gatherings where hugs and handshakes are common to more intimate settings where the avoidance can become more pronounced. The underlying reasons for this avoidance can be multifaceted. For some, it might stem from personal or cultural beliefs prioritizing modesty and restraint. For others, it could result from past traumatic experiences that lead to an association of touch with discomfort or danger. Psychological factors, including anxiety and certain mental health conditions, can also significantly shape a person's response to physical touch. This avoidance can manifest in relationships as a reluctance to engage in affectionate touches like holding hands, cuddling, or kissing. It's not always indicative of a lack of interest or affection towards the partner but could be a coping mechanism or a subconscious response rooted in deeper, unresolved issues. Addressing this behavior often requires a compassionate and understanding approach, where the underlying issues can be explored and addressed in a safe and supportive environment. Thank you for joining us on Dating Deluxe today. Remember, it's always best to approach such sensitive topics with respect and understanding. Every individual's journey is personal and unique. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing content.